Hi drivers, this is Paul Taylor once again from Truckers Justice Center. Our law firm represents drivers in disputes with trucking companies, in case you didn't know already from watching previous videos. This video is entitled, "You Can Be Unfired." Now what that means in this context is that if you're illegally fired in violation of the Surface Transportation Assistance Act's whistleblower protection or a sexual harassment statute or some other employment law, say for example you refuse to drive with an audible air leak in your brake system, or a bald tire, or a windshield wiper that doesn't work, or brake hours of service, and some rogue dispatcher, your fleet manager, says, you take it or you're fired, and you say, I refuse. I'm not driving. It's unsafe. It's illegal. It violates the ill or fatigued driver rule or the brake regulation. And he says, okay, you're fired then. You're not doing your job. Does that create a case? Yes. It creates a case under the whistleblower provisions of the Surface Transportation Assistance Act. But suppose that happens. The dispatcher fires you because you wouldn't go that 15 minutes over your 14 to make a delivery, or because you wouldn't drive 10 miles with a bald tire to a truck stop to get repaired, and the dispatcher's boss calls you back and says, forget what Susie told you, or Sammy, or George, or the safety director calls you, you've still got a job here. Now, you might have a case for that original firing, but there's no case for money damages, or a very weak case for money damages. Normally in a lawsuit, you are entitled to what you are out, at least in terms of wages and mental pain. So what would you get in that case if you're unfired? And so to speak, they overruled a fleet manager or safety manager is overruled by a vice president of the company. You don't have any damages. You don't have a case. You have a duty whenever you are illegally fired to attempt to mitigate damages. That means to look for look for substantially equivalent work, or take the job you just got fired from. That is your duty to mitigate damages. It would be sort of like if a drunk driver runs through a stoplight at 90 miles an hour and T-bones you and your head's bleeding and you don't go to the hospital. In this case, the analogy is you keep that job, where you're unfired, so to speak. That's the equivalent to going to the hospital and following doctor's advices. For example, somebody could stand up on the courthouse steps and says, yes, I fired George because he's a white male over 40, or I fired George because he wouldn't break hours of service. If you don't attempt to mitigate your damages through looking for substantially equivalent work, you've got no damage claim, or at least a very minimal damage claim. Same applies in being unfired. If the decision to fire you is reversed, you should, if you want to have a case for damages, you should accept that offer of reinstatement. If you don't want to, I don't blame you. You can go look for other work. You don't have to work for them, but there probably is no case for damages in such a situation. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there.